Hello and welcome to M&G Investments' new podcast, Dream Machine, with me, Laura Brown, and my colleague, Alex Matcham.
Hello.
Every episode, we're going to be talking to one of our brilliant fund managers to find out a bit more about what makes them tick. But we're not going to be doing that in a traditional way, are we, Alex?
Oh, no. We're going to be asking them what their dream vending machine items are.
Of course we are. Yes, you heard that right. Each episode, we're going to be asking our investment expert to select from our virtual vending machine their favourite drink, packet of crisps and chocolate bar or sweets, as well as some other questions to help you get to know them in a broader way.
We know that there are millions of data points available when assessing fund managers and investment performance, but this is much more about getting to know the people behind the portfolios and a bit about what makes them tick through the medium of snacks. It's important to say at this point that none of the content of Dream Machine should be considered as financial advice, nor should anything be taken as nutritional advice. Vending machine items and snacks should be enjoyed as part of a balanced diet. If you are unsure, you should speak to a financial advisor or a nutritionist.
Absolutely. And we should also say that this is not a promotion for any of the items that are mentioned, and there is a whole world of delicious snacks and drinks out there.
So with the disclaimers well and truly done, let's begin. This episode, we're talking to Eva Sun-Wai. Eva has been at M&G Investments for 6 years, is a key member of the bond vigilantes, and with a particular interest in macroeconomics, currencies and sovereign bonds. Eva, welcome to Dream Machine.
Thank you for having me.
So Eva, what was your first reaction when you were asked to do a podcast based on your favourite vending machine items?
I was excited. Something a bit different. Sounds more fun than what I would normally be doing at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday morning.
What would that be?
My job.
And at that time, that trading?
Yes, quite a lot going on in the mornings, probably about the deadline for new issues and that sort of thing. So, starting to get market open coming up in the US or a bit further west in the world. So, yeah, busy time, 11 a.m.
And how did you first get into the world of investments, Eva and M&G? What was your entry point here?
Like the both of you, I believe, I was a grad scheme entrant. So straight out of uni, I went to the University of Birmingham and I did a summer internship while I was there somewhere else. And then when it came to needing a job after uni, I applied for the famous grad scheme at M&G and I somehow got on it. And 6 years later, I'm still here.
Was that doing rotations across investment
Yes.
and other bits of the business too?
Yeah, lots of rotations. I went through real estate. I went through corporate credit research. I was still quite fixed income heavy, but I liked that. I did a bit with the Treasury and Investment Office and I rotated with my current team as well. So then met everyone.
Is that what sort of drew you into kind of the bond world?
Yeah, realised actually that, I think when you first join the industry, when you're young especially, everyone thinks, certain asset classes are, sexier than others or higher risk guarantees, higher reward and things like that. And it's going to be a bit more dynamic. But actually I realised quite early on, it's the bond side where you use more macroeconomics. You can buy the debt of a government, you can't buy its equity, you can't buy its shares. So it had to be fixed income to look at sovereign bonds, and we do a lot of currency work, a lot of derivatives as well. So very quickly appealed to me as, those are the sort of funds I want to work on.
I would say that my experience was a little less focused and a bit more generalist.
Yeah, I think mine was too. I kind of ended up still looking for my plan.
Indeed, you still want to know what you're going to do when you grow up.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so maybe we start with getting back onto kind of Dream Machine. We're here in front of our, fully stocked Dream vending machine. So if we start with your dream drink, Eva, what's your choice?
I mean, it's really boring, but it's just the one I go for every time, every day. So it would be a Coke Zero. I just don't think you can beat it.
Some here.
And we
What a
have
good
some
day.
Coke Zeros here.
Do some cheersing in a minute, I'm sure.
And cheers.
Right, and we have to get. I've gone for it. I don't think so. I think it's not boring necessarily if you like it, right?
And talk us through why Coke Zero and not another version.
Not Diet Coke.
Not Diet Coke.
It tastes different. It just is. I think Diet Coke tastes more chemically. It tastes different to Coke, whereas Coke Zero is supposed to taste like Coke just without the sugar, supposedly.
And are you genuinely a sort of a sweet drinks person? Do you need at least one of these a day?
This is my alternative to an afternoon coffee. So post lunch, I'll go and grab a Diet Coke or a Coke Zero. Coke Zero, if they've got it, sometimes they run out upstairs, so then I have to get a Diet Coke instead. But that will be I prefer that as like a refreshing afternoon pick me up.
So I guess going back to the world of work and before M&G, what was your first job? Your first kind of real or part-time job that you did growing up.
So I'm quite highly trained as a silver service waitress.
Oh.
Okay.
Yep. So where I grew up in Essex, there's a big kind of country club, golf club, wedding venue type place, and it was a bit of a rite of passage. If you grew up in Billericay, you either worked at Stockbrook Golf Club or you worked at the Waitrose.
Right.
And so I chose Stockbrook Country Club and went through extensive training to be a silver service waitress. I serve soup to many brides, which is a big responsibility, and I have seen other people spill tomato soup on brides.
Oh my.
It was often me and my sister would be on top table, so quite the responsibility. Ended up working behind the bar as well, so that can be quite fun. But you end up doing a lot of kind of 4 a.m. finishes and that sort of thing.
Should we talk a bit about kind of like a sort of normal day? And you mentioned the fact that we're interrupting your average day here. But when you kind of like into work, a kind of normal day for you, what would that look like?
It is really cheesy, but I think part of the appeal of the job is obviously it's very different day to day, completely depending on what markets are doing, whether markets are quiet, whether they're not quiet. Yeah. Doesn't feel like it's been quiet for a while. But, we always have you have your routine in terms of we always have our 9 a.m. morning meeting for the fixed income floor, where the dealers update us on everything, analysts update us on any news flow or things going on in their sectors. You have, we rotate in terms of which fund management little subsection updates the wider floor on what they've been up to. You have new issues every day, so sometimes they're quiet, sometimes there's loads, and that will happen for European markets and for US markets in the afternoon. You have your flows at lunchtime, so there's always things that happen every day, but all the bits in the middle can be very different. Some days will be more at the desk doing more, number crunching and research and doing the core of the job, and some days it will be client meetings, it will be our marketing, it will be sometimes some days it will be research trips or marketing trips abroad. So there's lots of different elements to the job that I definitely enjoy. I think you have to be quite a well-rounded person. I think some people think fund managers are desk huggers, but actually we're out and about quite a lot.
Should we move on to our next item?
Let's do it.
Vending machine.
Yeah.
Alex, I'll let you answer.
So we're now moving on to crisps.
Okay.
Tell us your crisp dream vending machine item.
It is, and I say this because it's really hard to find the individual flavour packets anymore. Like you always have to get them in a mixed bag, and I still love a cheese and onion French fry.
And we have some here to make
Here
plenty
they
of
are.
noise.
Yeah, they'll be noisy.
And these are all from a multi-pack, so
exactly,
you're right, they are.
exactly.
I don't think you. Oh, you don't.
You
it's not
used
something
to.
you see.
You used to be able to. How fun.
We have to
Right,
eat.
let's do a test.
I not my favourite French fry flavour.
You
but I do like.
hate
French
cheese and
fry.
onion. What are you trying to say?
Yeah.
So noisy.
They got a good crunch, haven't they?
Yeah. Good.
They're good.
And quite light.
As we were
Continuing
saying, there's a lot. It depends on the crisp. I wouldn't always go for cheese and onion, depending on the crisp. But
So it's
French
not a
fries,
universal.
it's not. No, you have to. Hula hoops. Cheese and onion are good, but the beef ones are good. For a Walker's, I'd probably go for salt and vinegar. So it really varies. But
It does
for
vary.
a French fry,
But
they do a good cheese and onion.
If you were, had to choose,
Yeah.
it's cheese and onion French fries.
Well, she did have to choose.
Yeah.
That,
That's true. That's the whole point of this whole thing,
that's
isn't it?
the concept.
There you go. That's
yeah,
good.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Are you? You don't strike me as someone who snacks a lot. Do you snack a lot?
No, not really. I'd say I could be partial to a 4 p.m. snack, especially if it's a long day at the office. I know I'm not going to get home for a while, and I know I've got to make dinner and do all those life admin tasks that we have to do every day. It would be a savoury. I'm not a sweet tooth, so I'm not a sweet snacker at all.
Always savoury.
Always savoury.
It's going to be quite interesting when we come to our sweet choice then.
I know, I've had to make a choice, but
it wouldn't have been on there genuinely, really, as a...
probably not, no.
And you've been M&G sort of 6 years or so
Yeah.
now, so kind of what motivates you to kind of, when you're thinking about your career and things like that?
I think knowing that you never quite know what you're going to come into work to. You don't quite know what you can't predict anything that happens in our world. The job is to try, right? The job is to try and position your portfolio for outcomes you think are going to happen, but you can't predict, and you will always get surprised. And I think that's part of you're constantly learning, you're constantly discovering new things. I think one of the cool things about the job is, I have a macroeconomics background. I've always been a bit of an economist at heart. what I love about the funds that I run is that any economic view I have, I can implement in some way, because the funds are so flexible, because they are, combination of top down, bottom up. They've got so many levers we can use to implement views, whether it be the bonds themselves, whether it be FX, whether it be, as I said, the derivative overlays or the short term versus long term. Any view I have, you look at the news. I think that's an element my friends understand, is you watch the news, you'll look at elections, or you'll look at, even things like natural disasters impact the markets, right? And anything that happens on the news, I have to think about, and I have to have a view on, and I have to implement that in my fund in some way. And that's the cool bit about it, I think.
Does that make it hard to switch off, though, if kind of
Yes,
everything
very.
is related?
I'd say that's the main downside, is that, you can be on holiday, but you can't, even if you're not looking at, your emails or Bloomberg or things like that, you're still following what goes on in the world, and that.
And how do you switch off then when you try? Appreciate that, as you said there, it can be tough, but
One of my main current hobbies / interests is I actually teach spin on the side, so I'm a spin instructor, and that is brilliant because you use your brain in such a different way, but there's so many things to think about. I am only focusing on the music, or what move is coming next, or someone's got unclipped, I need to go and clip them back in because we do it with the cleats, or someone's dropped a weight over there, or you have to, you cannot, I will not be reachable for that hour, and there is no way a thought about markets could enter my head during that time, because there is so much more to think about.
I know people that do spin, but teaching spin.
Yes.
How do you get into teaching spin?
I'm a bit of a weird person like that. I've always been quite sporty. I had a martial arts background. I did a lot of dance and things like that at uni. And when I came to London and started working, it was that my job became my whole life, which is, fine because I love it. It was great. But I got to a point when I finished CFA that I was like, I've got a bit of time, even though you still don't really have that much time. But post CFA, it felt like I did, and I used to attend a lot of classes, and I thought, okay, I'll give that a go. And the rest is history. I somehow got through, did the training camp, and now I teach.
It's very
Well
cool.
done. Very impressive.
We should definitely do some client.
I think I need a spin class or two, Eva, right now. Yeah.
Maybe after we've done this first series and we've eaten all the snacks.
All the
Although I've only eaten one French fry, so
I had two.
Like it was
I could definitely eat more,
quite
but
a
I
light
shouldn't.
start.
Yeah.
But maybe if we go on to our next snack, which, spoiler alert, I feel like is quite different.
Very
In
different.
Talk
terms
to
of
us.
tone. So you're back to our dream vending machine. You're still hungry, unbelievably. What is your dream chocolate bar?
I would go for a double-decker, which is probably
One of the
contrary
weightiest.
to everything I've just said.
One of the
It's the I never pronounce it right. It's the nougat. Nougat. I'm also partial to a Milky Way, but I thought this was a bit more interesting because it's also got the crunch.
Yes.
So that's the bit I like.
Journey.
Because it's actually it's heavy, but it's actually quite light because of the.
I think we're going to have to do this in a relay because we're literally not going to be able to speak for a moment.
You try first.
So I'll try first.
Yeah.
You ask a question.
Well, no, nougat. Nougat is an interesting thing. It's not mainstream, is it?
I'm not even sure what it is.
What is nougat?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna speculate as to what nougat is.
Go for it.
It's some sort of sugary, creamy compound.
Yeah.
It is, especially a version of marshmallow.
Yeah, because you with your sweets background, you know
I made
about
some of
this.
these.
Laura used to have a sweets company that made sweets.
Yeah, in my in-between M&G days, I
I
ran a
love that.
confectionery company and briefly wanted to make these kind of bars, so I did make quite a lot of nougat.
So this is an occasional snack.
Yeah, it's really not I'm more likely to, if I really want something sweet, I might have a handful of grapes. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a big, really not
I'm
a sweet
so
tooth.
impressed with the discipline.
Well,
Teaching spin, eating grapes.
And not eating double-deckers.
Yeah.
Like
It'll
when
be-
this episode
yeah.
stops, we're going to eat
I've
all
got
the
some work to
double-deckers.
do. I've got some work to do.
That's why we're not fund managers, Alex.
No, that's it.
That's why we're in sales and marketing.
That's it.
It's because we do not have the self-discipline
Yeah, the
to apply
willpower.
ourselves. Maybe a double-decker is this, but your guilty pleasure as far as food goes, what would that?
Whoever's listening is going to judge me. My weird thing is, the like American cheese, like the plastic cheese that you'd put on a burger.
Yeah, sliced one.
I will just eat that out of the packet.
I don't think that's that weird.
No.
I think that, no, okay, good.
Has it got separate plastic sheets
Yeah,
on each
that-
one?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
You don't
Right.
have them with you in your handbag now, do you?
No,
Right, okay,
imagine.
then it's not that weird.
Is this a regular thing? Is it always in the fridge?
Not often, because I know that if I buy them, I will eat them, and then we'll buy them to like have a burger or something, and then they'll be none left because I've eaten them all.
Do it.
Um,
Cheese does that though.
yeah,
Cheese
I'm a bit
is
of
that
a
thing.
cheese
And she'll say back to a
fiend.
savoury theme.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you might say, oh, you know, health is wealth, because I'd rather have grapes than chocolate, but you put a tub of Pringles in front of me and they'll probably all disappear. So
Yeah, I like that.
it's balance.
Balance is key. Same with portfolios, I'm sure.
Oh, I
you
like that.
see?
Balance,
I don't know.
willpower.
Yeah.
Coming back again. So I think a lot of people, when they hear the term fund manager, rightly or wrongly, they may think of a 50-year-old man called John. Okay. And I just want to ask your perspective on that, and being, you know, very much not a 50-year-old man called John, and what that's been like, and how it feels.
Yeah, I think there was actually a study done. Well, there are definitely more John CEOs than female CEOs. And I think they did the same thing for fund managers, and there are more, I think it's Davids,
Yeah.
more David CEOs and fund managers than there are women. I wouldn't say that being a fund manager as a woman has ever been I've never really noticed, you know, that difference in terms of versus the men, but I think being younger has been more of a difference, because, you know, you feel like you have to, I think, convince people that little bit more, or justify things a little bit more, and, you know, how could I know what to do in this sort of environment if I've not experienced it 20 years ago, and that sort of thing. And I think it's, you know, having to talk through, well, actually, a young person can do the job. You can look at markets today and go, well, this is how I should position my portfolio, right? And actually, we don't have the biases that a lot of the managers do who've been doing it a long time and experience something and go, oh, well, this is like that, so I'm going to position my portfolio that way, and when actually it's quite different. And, you know, I talk a lot to Jim. He will say, I've never really experienced a high inflationary environment as a fund manager, so this is really new to him, whereas all I've ever really experienced as a fund manager is a post-COVID, very inflationary environment. So those different perspectives, I think, can be very helpful when running funds, and we do look at things very differently. And you have the classic, oh, perhaps if you're a bit younger, you use a bit more technology, or those kind of typical things. But I think it's more a perspective difference. At the end of the day, the job is turning up, looking at markets, deciding, do I buy, sell, or hold? That's the job, right? And you, I think, can be good at that without the biases from before. So yeah, I think the age has made more impact than being a woman.
Okay.
But it would be good to see more women in the job, in the
Indeed.
industry. Yeah.
So Eva, we've heard what motivates you, but what scares you? What keeps you up at night?
You don't know, you know, something that will have happened overnight in, you know, Asian hours that, you know, you're going to come into a total kind of mess. That is stressful, right? Again, it's that unpredictability. It's also the fact that you have different market hours. You know, it's been a bit of a treat that we've expanded into Asia and into the US, because having those dealing teams on the ground has made a big difference in terms of, oh, well, if something happens, you know, there are people live on the ground at that time, and you can send trades over to be traded in those hours, as opposed to you have to wait till the next day when the markets reopen. So things like that, you know, it's just the unpredictability of the job, right? Can be scary at times.
Yeah.
Right, I think we're getting to the end of our vending machine delights.
Should we sum up the vending machine?
Let's do it.
So I'm very happy to confirm your dream machine, Eva.
Thank you.
Your dream drink, Coke Zero. Your dream crisps, cheese and onion French fries.
Yeah,
And your dream chocolate bar, a double decker.
that's true.
A fabulously balanced
Yeah.
set of choices, I think. Sets us up in really good stead.
Indeed.
For the rest of the day.
Indeed. And I think all that remains is to thank you very much for your insights and your time.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Eva.
I wasn't expecting the actual snacks when I arrived, so it's a really good
There
day.
you go, outperforming.
You can
all the
take them
time.
with you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks.
That's it for this episode of Dream Machine. I hope you've enjoyed finding out lots of insights into our Snacktive managers. Please subscribe for future episodes.